The Gardener's Thorns, a son-in-law's exploitation. Rose, at 71, was a woman sculpted by soil and sun. Her garden was not merely a hobby, it was her memory palace, her sanctuary, and the one place where her hands, veined and stained with earth, held absolute dominion. Each rosebush was a chapter of her life with her late husband, Robert. The hydrangeas were for her daughter, Emily. The sturdy oaks at the property line were the legacy he'd left her, a promise of shelter and endurance. She lived on the pension Robert had earned, supplemented by her own modest savings. It was enough for her seed catalogs, her property taxes, and the small comforts of a quiet life. And, as it turned out, enough for her daughter's family. Emily was a good daughter, if a bit pliable. She had her mother's soft heart, but lacked her thorny resilience. And then there was Mark. Mark, her son-in-law, was a man of smooth surfaces and easy charm. He had a smile that could coax a blossom in winter and a voice like warm honey. He was perpetually between ventures, a man whose ship was always just about to come in. Rose, a nurturer by nature, wanted to believe in him for Emily's sake, for the sake of her two grandchildren, Leo and Maya. The requests had started small 3 years ago. Just 100 to cover the electric, Rose. Don't tell Em, she worries so. The car's transmission is shot, Mom, he'd say, calling her Mom with a familiarity that both warmed and unsettled her. I found a guy who can fix it cheap, but he needs the cash up front. It's for getting the kids to school, really. Rose, picturing her grandchildren stranded, would transfer the money. She poured her love and her life savings into two things, her vibrant garden and her daughter's family. She trusted her charming son-in-law, Mark, when he asked for help with urgent needs. She never realized that with every dollar she gave, she was planting a thorn of deceit, draining her finances while bragging about his secret gambling habits. The urgent needs began to escalate. Mark's ventures became more ambitious, his failures more expensive. There was the can't-miss real estate seminar, the ground-floor tech startup, the misunderstanding with the IRS. Each request was delivered with a performance of stressed sincerity, a hand run through his hair, a pained sigh. Rose, I know I'm asking a lot, he'd say, standing in her kitchen, his eyes avoiding hers. But this is the one. This will set us up for life. Emily and the kids, they deserve it. And Rose, looking at the man her daughter loved, would write the check. She sold a few of Robert's old bonds. She postponed the much-needed roof repair on her own house. Her garden began to reflect the quiet strain. She skipped buying the good mulch. The climbing roses on the west trellis looked thin. Their leaves spotted with black fungus she didn't have the energy to treat. Her best friend, Eleanor, a woman as practical and thorny as a cactus, noticed. "You're looking tired, Rose," Eleanor said one afternoon over a cup of tea on the porch. "And so is your garden. That's not like you." "Just a lot on my mind," she murmured, pulling her cardigan tighter. "Let me guess. A lot on your mind and a lot less in your bank account." Her gaze was sharp. "It's Mark, isn't it? He's a weed, Rose, a choking vine. You keep watering him, he's just going to strangle the whole garden." "Eleanor, that's my family," Rose snapped, a rare show of anger. "He's just having a hard time." "A hard time? Or a hard time holding a job?" Eleanor retorted. "Be careful, Rose. Some plants are parasitic. They look lovely until they've sucked the life right out of the tree." Rose didn't speak to Eleanor for a week, but the words festered, like a thorn embedded deep under the skin. The next week, Mark called. His voice was a frantic whisper.
Rose, thank God. I'm in a real bind. A client bounced a check. I need $2,000 by tomorrow or I lose this contract. This is the big one, Rose. The one that pays off everything. I swear. Rose's stomach clenched. 2,000 was a lot. It was most of her monthly pension. Oh, Mark, I don't know. Please, Rose, for Emily. She's so stressed. This would fix everything. I'll pay you back double next month. I swear on the kids' lives. She closed her eyes, picturing Emily's worried face. All right, Mark. This has to be the last time. You're a lifesaver, Rose. The last time, I promise. You're an angel. She transferred the money, her hand trembling slightly. That night, she couldn't sleep. She walked through her garden in the moonlight, the scent of night-blooming jasmine mixing with the bitter taste of anxiety. 2 days later, Rose decided to surprise Emily and the grandkids. She baked a batch of Robert's favorite oatmeal raisin cookies and loaded a flat of new marigolds into her car. She hadn't called first. She wanted to see their faces, to feel needed for something other than her checkbook. She pulled up to their rented house, a small, neat suburban box. As she got out, she heard Mark's voice coming from the open garage. He was on the phone. His voice was not the stressed, pleading tone he used with her. It was loud, jovial, and bragging. Oh, it was nothing, he laughed, a sound that made Rose's blood run cold. The old lady is a gold mine, seriously. I just have to look sad and mention the kids, and she opens the vault. That $2,000 I got yesterday, that's my stake for the game tonight. Easy money. Rose froze, the tray of warm cookies suddenly feeling like a block of ice in her hands. Yeah, a contract, Mark snorted. She bought it, hook, line, and sinker. And get this, last month, I told her I needed money for Emily's emergency dental work. I used it to put a down payment on the new sports bike. She hasn't even noticed. Stupid old woman is so busy pulling weeds, she doesn't see the snake right at her feet. A laugh from the other end of the line. What about her antique tools? You said she had some? Oh, the really old ones in the shed? Already gone. Sold them online last week. Got a pretty penny, too. She probably thinks she just misplaced them. The tray of cookies slipped from Rose's numb fingers, shattering on the driveway. The sound was explosive in the quiet afternoon. The garage door screeched open. Mark stood there, his phone still in his hand, his face a mask of leisurely charm that instantly curdled into stunned horror. Rose, what are you doing here? Rose stared at him. She didn't see the smooth-talking son-in-law. She saw a pest, a predator. She looked past him, at the garage. In the corner, gleaming under a tarp, was the unmistakable shape of a new, expensive motorcycle. And on the workbench, she saw the empty space where her grandfather's 100-year-old brass gardening trowel and hand fork used to hang. She had given them to Mark, thinking he'd take up the hobby. He hadn't taken up the hobby. He had just taken. You sold them, she whispered, the words barely audible. Rose, I can explain. You lied. Her voice was stronger now, rising from a deep, frozen well of betrayal. Now listen, you're taking this all wrong, he started, stepping towards her, his smile flickering back on, a desperate, automatic reflex. Get away from me, Rose said. The words were not a plea. They were a command. They were the cold steel of garden shears snapping shut. She looked at this man, this thief, who had not only stolen her money, but had used her love for her daughter and grandchildren as his weapon. The gardener in her, the woman who had spent a lifetime nurturing growth and ruthlessly pruning decay, took over. The shock was gone, replaced with a glacial, clarifying rage. You are a liar, she said, her voice shaking but clear, and a thief. Mark's face darkened. The charm vanished, revealing the rot beneath. You don't know what you're talking about, old woman. You're confused. You gave me that money. I gave it to help my family, not to fund your games, not to buy that thing." She pointed to the motorcycle. "It's my money now," he snarled, taking a step forward, "and you'd better keep your mouth shut, or Emily will... She'll what, Mark?" Rose didn't flinch. "She'll finally see who she married. You're not just a bad investment, you're a disease." She bent, slowly, and picked up a single, unbroken cookie from the shattered mess on the pavement. She held it up, looked at it, and then dropped it at his feet. "I'm going home," she said. She got back into her car, her movements stiff but deliberate. She backed out of the driveway, never once taking her eyes off his furious, trapped face. She drove home, but she didn't go